Have you ever finished a book and immediately needed someone to unpack it with?
Whether you loved it, hated it, or just needed to scream about that one character decision, you've come to the right place.
Welcome to Edition 19, a cozy little corner of the internet where we,
Sorry?
and me, get to gossip about the books living rent free in our heads.
We started this podcast as kind of like a little book club, but way more fun. We read, we rant, and we're bringing you all of the spoilers. So grab your favorite drink and let's turn the page on this week's pick.
And today we're diving into a book full of cursed horrors, forbidden magic, and a voice in your head that's not your own.
So, full transparency, we haven't read this genre in quite a while. We've been reading a lot of fae. We wanted to jump into something that's a little bit more dark fantasy with morally gray love interest. It's not new territory for us, but we're just kind of diving back into it. So, this review is coming from two people who have been out of the mist for some time.
So today we're stepping back into the mist and we're talking about Rachel Gillig's debut novel, One Dark Window. Yay!
This novel is set in a mist-covered kingdom called Blunder, where a magical illness threatens everybody. And the only way to fight back is through outlawed magic and these eerie Providence cards. There is a page count of 399 pages, which include the first chapter of the next book, Two Twisted Crowns.
This book also includes mild spice, court intrigue, and forbidden romance. So heads up. The book blends a gothic atmosphere, psychological suspense, and a tarot-adjacent magic system that's honestly pretty unique. And we know you're interested in what the tropes are. So what are they? The tropes include semi-forced proximity, unlikely allies, not quite enemies to lovers, and a dash of fake dating.
So now that we kind of got a little tidbit out of the way, let's just do a mini plot overview. As mentioned before, it's set in this mist enshrouded kingdom of Blunder. The story follows the main character, Elspeth Spindle, who's pretty much a young woman harboring a dangerous secret and shares her mind with this creature that lurks called the Nightmare. When Elspeth encounters the king's nephew and captain of the Destriers, she becomes entangled in a perilous mission. They're drawn into a tangled web of political deception, long buried curses, and an unexpected connection growing between them. Okay, I struggled with this one. The premise sounded like the perfect cursed cup of tea, but the pacing was slow and then really fast. I could not get into this book until about chapter 6. End of chapter 6, beginning of chapter 7.
I enjoyed the pacing for the most part. I struggled with the first chapter, but it's not to where I had to keep rereading and rereading and rereading it just to get past it. I thought that once I got past the chapter, because it was setting up the scene, then nothing was really happening in the first chapter, but I figured something eventually will have to go down. So once I got past chapter 2, I just finished the whole book in like a day.
Maybe it was the narrator when I was listening to it on Audible, and then I had to go get the physical copy because I could not stand the narrator. I was like, maybe it's the narrator that I don't like.
Yeah, I think the narrator makes good or bad.
But when I got the physical, I also reread the first like couple pages 5 times.
Was it the writing style?
I think it was just slow. You know how like a lot of books do world building? I didn't get that. It was like a walking sim at first.
Yeah, I think since the book was only 392 pages, that's excluding the first chapter of the second book, it didn't give you enough time to world build.
Because, yeah, we know it's like Blunder is a place that you kind of don't want to live at. What does it look like, you know? I get it. There's a castle.
I vision it as a looming black castle, which is mist everywhere. And that's kind of just the image I have the entire time.
I couldn't even fake an image.
Yeah, because in the beginning, they're just walking on a cobble path, right?
Yeah, they're just walking. Like I said, a walking sim. And that's why I was not interested until about chapter 6 or 7. Because during that time, you meet a bunch of people on the court.
Yeah, she kind of just throws everyone together and just like rapid fire introduces everybody.
Yes, and I don't like that. I mean, I get it because you're trying to get through it, but gosh, give me some time to breathe between characters. I will take you telling me what the place looks like instead of rapid firing a bunch of characters off one by one.
Yeah, I think as they're walking, they could probably like, oh, there's this person with this family, or just something like, oh, this is this family. They're usually at the dinner or something. I think I just went off the vibe. I think that's why I just kept going after chapter one.
It did get better.
Yeah, I think if there were just a few more pages or like one or two more chapters.
I would have taken that. Like, if
Mhm.
it gave us like more descriptions about it than the overall world building aspect, I would have taken 2, 3, 10 more chapters of it. I don't care. I'll take it. Just give me something to imagine.
Give me a world to build in my head.
Yeah.
We both had different,
Experiences for sure.
yeah, with
Yeah.
the pacing of the book.
Let's talk about the Providence cards and how the magic system is set up. Spoiler warning.
I mainly enjoyed this book because of the magic system.
Yeah.
It was such a breath of fresh air from like all the other magic systems that I've been reading about, mainly Fae. I think that's why I also enjoyed this book a lot more because it wasn't Fae this, Fae that, wings here, wings there.
Getting to know like what all the cards and stuff do was really, really interesting for me.
The tarot adjacent Providence cards were unique and author did it really well. And that's what made me wanted to keep reading.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the unique magic system and then we'll jump into the Providence cards. The Shepherd King makes his deal with the spirit of the woods who enchants all the Providence cards. However, it wasn't without a price. There are 12 categories, and with each category, the Shepherd King had to give something important to him, which is I love that idea. It's so unique because you see in other magic systems, yeah, either the magic consumes you or they get it from something.
Yeah. So it was 78 Providence cards. And then the breakdown goes.
So you have the black horse. There's 12 of them. The next card is the golden egg, which there's 11. So these are all going to go in descending order 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. The golden egg gives you great wealth. However, the con of that is all assuming greed. So basically, whatever the magic grants you, the con is their opposite.
Right.
The prophet, the white eagle, the maiden, then you have the chalice, you have the well card, then you have the iron gate, then you have the scythe, and you get the mirror at 3, then you have the nightmare, and then we have the twin antlers card, which there's only one.
While it sounds super, super cool to have, there's always a price to pay. And it's not a great price to pay.
Except for the mirror. I guess we can get into that.
But okay, it lists the veil, but is that it?
Ooh. I was gonna say you get trapped.
Oh, I was gonna say you become a ghost because it's invisibility. No one can see you.
That's fair. So you stay invisible and no one can see you. So you're like, "Ooh, hello,
Lure.
anybody out there?" So since no one's seen the twin antlers card, so no one knows what the color is. What color do you think it would have?
I'm going to say it's orange.
Oh, yeah, because we don't have that color yet.
Yeah, because we already have a green. So if the Twin Ladders was going to be green, it shouldn't have been the Iron Gate.
Yeah, that's true. Why am I thinking it could be the color of the mist?
Well, the mist is gray.
It could be like a magical gray, like a enchanted.
It's a magical gray.
To me, it's like swirly, like glittery.
Okay, but that's not a color.
To me, it's a color. Glitter's a color for me.
That's like a sheen. So would there be two light grays? Because then that would be confusing.
Oh yeah, because we don't have orange. Yeah, at first to me, it sounded like it'd be a cream color.
It could be cream, but how do you see cream in light?
I don't know. That's the color it's giving off for me. Is cream. I have no other explanation why I think
I
it's
have
a cream.
no reason why to say that. That's just the first thing that I feel.
That's just the vibe. Yeah, that's the color I first thought of when I was like, ooh, maybe it's like a cream velvet border. I don't know, like cream robes. I don't know.
So priests?
Not priest, but maybe. I don't know. That's just the vibe I was
It's
getting.
giving priest.
It's giving priest. That's what I'm getting. That's the vibe I was getting from it.
Okay. I mean, sure. I think that it could be brown. We don't have a brown.
Oh,
So
that's
maybe like a light
true.
brown or I don't know. For me, I feel like it's orange. Twin Adlers just sounds
So-
funky.
It just sounds orange. It's giving
It's
orange.
giving orange.
Okay, I can get behind the orange. I can't really persuade you to think why it would be cream.
You have no reason why it would be. How do you differentiate the color cream in a
In a
outside?
mist-filled forest.
In a mist-filled forest.
Well,
Yeah.
the mist is gray.
But you could see gray off of
That's
anything.
true. I don't know. Oh, maybe it could be beige color. I just want the light neutral colors,
Well, I
apparently.
mean, the white eagle is like a piercing white, so it had to be a piercing
Yeah,
cream.
exactly. Okay. So I'm probably gonna be way off.
You might be right though. I don't know.
Nico, you got something to say? You keep licking the mic. He agrees with me. It's cream. Lick the mic if you think the color's cream. What was your favorite Providence card and why?
My favorite is the nightmare. No, pause. That's not correct.
Actually, as I say
That's
it, I don't like
that's
the
my
way it
my
sounds.
second favorite card. My first favorite card is the mirror card.
Yeah, I enjoyed the mirror card too.
Yeah, I mean, going invisible is cool, but like I will take the con of seeing spirits.
I will also take the con if I get stuck in the veil world and no one can see me. I think that's the lesser of evils of all the cons that you could possibly have.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would take that one too. I don't mind seeing ghosts, and I think it would probably be cool
Yeah, I think the Iron Gate would be my second.
even if it stole years from your life.
Yes, but I guess it really depends on how much life it steals at one time. Is it 10 years, 5 years,
Oh,
7
that's
years?
true.
It's 2 years? I don't know. Maybe. I might
You
take
might take
it. Instead of living to 110, I'll live to 100, and I think I'm okay with that.
I mean, that's a good one.
But the mirror is my top favorite. I think it's a
Yeah.
lesser.
I just think it would be cool because it lifts the veil between worlds.
Yeah, and I'm terrible at sneaking around, so I think that also would
You would use it as just to scare people or
just
just
as
to tiptoe around?
just to hear the gossip, just to see what's
Oh,
going on.
so you just wanna hear the chisme? Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
I like to be in people's drama. I don't like my own drama. I wanna hear other people's drama.
So funny. You become like a ghost reporter.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
The gossip ghost.
Alright. But, like, so I'm in the Veil world, so what do you guys think of this person? King sucks, right? Go spy on Miriam for me and see what, Eric sees in her,
For real.
please.
Oh my god, please someone tell me that. Then you could talk to the ghosts that were around during that time of, like, how that even became.
Yes, be like, go find this person or this ghost right now who witnessed the entire freaking encounter."
I need to know.
Yeah, I need that backstory, like, right
Yeah,
now,
me too.
so I can
How do you go
understand.
from Iris to Nerium?
Yeah, it's giving Cinderella. So
Mm.
speaking of all these characters, let's move on to our main peeps. So we're gonna talk about our girl Elspeth.
Elspeth?
Elspeth, yeah. Sometimes I can't pronounce any of these fantasy names, and I'm okay with that. As we move through the book, you'll see that there's traumatized past, why she's guarded, and also why she's unreliable. Some people think it makes her seem real, but honestly, some of the choices she freaking makes, I'm like, girl, I would do something way different.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And her relationship with the nightmare is also a very compelling part of the book. And I thought it was really well thought out how they mingled the nightmare and Elspeth together with their own personalities. Like you could easily distinguish, even when it's not like, oh, the nightmare said this, you knew it was the nightmare talking, or if it was just Elspeth.
How the nightmare was written is my favorite part of the book. The way he clashes with Elspeth, I really enjoy. But for me, felt like such a bland character. Like she was like, woe is me, help me. Like she didn't have like any thoughts, real thoughts of her own. I don't know.
I think they say she's layered because she's hiding something in her head, but I don't necessarily think that makes her layered. But I guess she has the dossiers looming over her and the physicians, so maybe that's why she's just like not so like her cousin. She's not like that.
But even with like when she talks to like people in the safety of their home, being a person, she just kind of like is so bland to me.
Yeah, but I guess that's a good thing why when she meets Raven, she kind of gets more of a backbone.
I feel like the way that she was written could have been so much better. I hate when authors write their female characters as extremely helpless.
For someone who's heard the story 1,000 freaking times, like you would think you would put some things together before you even met Raven and gone with this rebellion or
That's what I'm
whatever.
saying. She's really bland. She has no thoughts of her own. Like she has nothing going on in there. So you've heard these stories like throughout your childhood. You're dealing with a sickness, but you can't put two and two together.
Yeah, no, she wasn't that complex of a character. She was kind of just like, I'm brooding. I have somebody in my mind. Keeping away from everybody else. Yeah.
So that's just how I feel about her.
So now that you bring that up, Raven, her love interest actually makes so much sense because he's also so like two-dimensional.
He was so interesting and mysterious to me. That's why I like chapters 6 and 7. I was getting really into it. I was like, "Yay, we're meeting the male main character," you know? He was so mysterious, interesting, and then he
He
wasn't.
kind of fell flat.
Yeah.
Let him be mysterious, let him brood for a little bit, build the tension.
And it's just like kind of like stay mysterious, but after that it was like nothing. Like it felt bland.
Yeah.
Like their romance to me felt so bland and like them as characters as like the main characters were bland when I loved everybody else.
Yeah, I feel like the author could have she needed more pages for that.
Yeah.
I think also why they fell flat. I think the nightmare really carried the team here with Elspeth and the storyline
Yeah.
carried
All
all
of
of it,
it.
yeah.
Because the way that she wrote his dialogue and things like that, it was very compelling for me. I loved it. But when she talks, I'm like, ugh.
You would think with this nightmare in your head who talks the way he talks, you would kind of pick up on his wording and how he says things. Yeah. I feel like Raven was a little bit more interesting than Elspeth, but the nightmare is really what I was vibing off the nightmare the entire time.
Yeah. Going back to Raven, he was mysterious. He did fall flat for me. But he's still more interesting than Elspeth. So
Right. I hope in the second book he gets more interesting. Maybe this book was just building them up and they're more interesting in the next one.
yeah, that's what I'm really hoping for.
So I definitely was going off the vibe of the plot. You were just
I
you
was
were struggling through it for a
struggling
hot
so
minute.
bad. I don't know what it is. So now that we kind of talked over a little bit about Elspeth and Raven, was there anyone else that you really enjoyed?
I enjoyed Elm and Emery. So Elm, I think he's sus. He is going against his father and he absolutely hates his brother with I respect that because I would too. With a fire passion because he has probable cause to hate him and his
Mhm.
father too.
Mhm.
Yet I don't know if the author meant to make him sound suspicious or I'm just overthinking this like I usually do with these books that he's planning something else.
No, I kind of got that same vibe where he was like felt kind of
I
suspicious.
think it also hardened my suspicion after I don't know why he used his scythe card to keep the people from moving, but I still feel like he was doing it for his own gain at the same time. I know he has like a good heart, but like in what to what extent? But again,
Mm.
I could be reading more into it than what's actually going to happen and he's probably just like that's just who he is.
See, at that point, I didn't really like when that scene happened. I didn't have any thoughts during that scene. It was actually, I think, before and like afterwards that I was kind of getting suspicious of him, but it's because how suspicious he was of Elspeth.
That that's a good point.
He was like super suspicious.
Yeah, so he's like still kind of cautious. Maybe it's just him being cautious to where I think he's like
Where it's
being
kind of feeling like suspicious, like
yeah, when he
weird.
yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of it that way. That
Yeah.
makes sense though. That's probably what
I don't think he's meant to be. Maybe that's just the vibe that I kind of get because he was so suspicious of Elspeth that he now feels suspicious.
yeah. So yeah, it was probably just that and I'm just thinking way too into
But you
it
could
with all
be
these
right.
scenes.
We don't know. But how do they write a whole how is she gonna write a whole
A whole character arc
character arc for um Elm being suspicious and like
with
overthrowing
only
when there's only like what, like
392 pages.
pages in the next book too? It looks about the
Yeah.
same size. I don't know. I didn't actually check.
I think it looks about the
I'm just
same
guessing.
thickness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally don't quote
I'm
us
just
on that 'cause I
guessing.
don't know.
Don't quote me on that page
But I
count.
think like yeah, like how would she have the time to write a whole other
Arc.
arc for Elm?
And see what he's actually
Yeah.
plotting behind the scenes, you're
Yeah.
right.
Did say that you also liked Emery.
I feel like he has no care in the world where everybody's caring about the magic, the Providence card, the king, and he's just like in La La Land.
Frightened me at first. I was like, "Oh
Oh
my
my
god, this guy's
gosh.
gonna be so
Like the
crazy."
stairs scene, I'm like, is Elspeth gonna have to call for the nightmare? Is like this is where we're gonna find her magic, and then boop gets pushed down the stairs
But
by
by
Raven.
Raven, yep.
I, s- I still can't get over the image of Raven just like
Just
over his crumpled brother and just like scolding him. Why
yeah.
would you push your brother down the
Down the
stairs
stairs.
and you're still yelling at him crazy?
Yeah, that scene when he's introduced, I was like, "Oh my god, this guy's so scary." Like, is he gonna be the crazy guy that Elspeth has to deal with?
Yeah.
like constantly, like she's gonna be fighting for her life with this dude. But I do love Emery a lot, especially leading closer to the end of the book.
See, I feel like he'd be more of a layered character.
He is. He's got a lot going on, you know.
At least he's real.
Yeah, but I'm really rooting for him. I hope, like,
He's got like a redemption
yeah,
character arc.
or like something good happens to
And if
him.
something doesn't, I will cry. I'm telling you
Yeah,
right now. I will die on this hill for him. I will jump into
please.
this book and start swinging.
You just get transported into the book.
Ugh, I wish.
You start fighting off the king.
I was gonna say, hate to see me coming. Except for Elm.
Except for Elm.
Elm,
We
he'll
love
be behind
Elm.
me swinging. So, was there anybody you found compelling that we didn't talk about?
Jesper was probably my favorite in terms of character personality. I really like how she was written and she was a badass, honestly. I wish her personality was given to Elspeth. So yeah, I would say that's who I would choose. So based off all of the characters that we've gotten to meet throughout the novel, anybody that you would want to have a drink with?
Yeah, my girl, Ione.
Ione?
See, I'm telling you, I'm going to keep saying this throughout the entire review. I don't know how to pronounce anybody's name except for the Nightmare and
I mean, it's
Raven.
a Raven. Why do they add a Y?
Trying to make it more like
Edgy?
fantasy. Yeah, edgy
Oh,
fantasy.
when I saw his name as Raven with a Y, it's like, oh, here we go.
I feel like he could have been like Emery.
Yeah.
I also, when he was first introduced, I'm like, Raven?
Yes.
I'm glad you brought that point up because I totally forgot about that, and you made a good point because I felt the same way. I'm like, Raven. Oh, let's go, Raven. I don't know. I just
Every
yeah.
time I think of the name Raven, I think of Teen Titans.
Oh yeah.
So I already have that like bias in my head that Raven is this like cool, edgy girl. Even with a Y. Especially with a Y.
Makes it even more edgy.
Yeah.
Like you know what? Let's just move on because I'm here for the vibe apparently and nothing else.
But yeah, I know going back to the Ione, why would you have a drink with her?
That girl has been through it, even though the author hasn't said it. With what we know about Hoth and King
Yeah.
Rowan, a stiff one, please. Yeah, and I also want to ask her. So how are we going to off Hoth
So you would try to commit murder with her?
for her? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, she was so like sweet and innocent, and she could have had such a better life path. But I mean, also,
Conspire for murder?
why not?
You're over here planning murder with Ione?
I think the way that she was written, I was like, she's so innocent. She needs redemption.
She needs help. She needs my help in particular.
You know what? Whatever. Like, you know what? I'm just trying to get the maiden card at this point. Thanks,
So
bye.
funny. Yeah, and then we'll just commit murder.
Probable probable deniability.
That's crazy. That is so
And we're canceled. Just exit this whole part out. Just kidding. I would just ask her. Yeah, I would just ask her what his plans are. Maybe go one step ahead to help Elspeth.
King Rowan's or Hoth's?
Maybe both. I would be interested in both and what they're both conspiring.
Oh, that's fair. Oh, maybe if I had a drink with someone, I would want to do it with King Rowan. I want to know what this guy is doing.
See, you're conspiring too. Just kidding.
Not with murder.
Hey, the king will sacrifice for the cause.
Yeah.
No conspiring here, please. This is not a true crime podcast.
If I had to ask anybody, it would be King Rowan, but given the fact that I probably would never get the chance because he has so many people around him, I would probably have a drink with Worth Willow. I would have a drink with him because he would still have all the details of what the king's ordering and things like that. So he would still have
Oh, that's a good one.
a lot of information and what King Rowan is planning.
That's a good character to have a drink with.
Yeah.
Now that we've discussed the magic system, the characters, let's jump into the themes and just the overall plot, chapters, scenes that happened in the book. And there's definitely a lot of themes that happen in One Dark Window. A few themes include personal growth, self discovery, courage, struggle for freedom, and even sacrifice. So there's a lot going on in this book.
Yeah.
I think that's why it makes it feel so fast paced.
Yeah, it's just like something is always happening. It's like one thing after the other after the other.
What was your favorite scene?
I would say my favorite scene. It's not my favorite scene, but it's the scene that drew me into this book. Is when Elspeth and Raven meet for the first time. This guy takes Elspeth into the dungeon. She's like, nobody knows my secret or whatever. I have the sickness, and then Raven goes and tells like his entire family, like brings them all down to like research her or whatever. That was the craziest thing for me.
He's like, I'm not going to tell anybody, but let me just
And
tell my
tell my
entire
entire
family to
family.
meet me here because of something, the secret you just told me.
Yeah, so that is the one thing in this book that I
The most memorable for
yeah,
you.
the most memorable thing in this book for me because I was just baffled. I was like, "What?
Trust me, I won't tell a soul. Tells like 5 other people.
Come down here now!"
We need a meeting. And then just
And
like,
then just like dissecting her pretty
literally,
much.
and they just like surround her.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that is a scene that I won't say that I loved or that I would change, but it was definitely a scene that I will remember.
that's so funny. I think my favorite part was just Raven pushing his brother down the stairs. I don't know why. That was just so like memorable for me.
Yeah.
Just because I just imagined him pushing him down the stairs and he's just over here, hands on his hips, like scolding him, like
While he's like tumbling down the stairs a little bit.
yeah, and he's just like crumpled on the floor, and Raven
Yeah.
just standing over him, like, "What are you doing? No, 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 no!" Anything with Emery in it, which is was my favorite.
Well, since we have something that we loved, was there a section that you didn't like or you would change?
Okay, so we're gonna go to the slow burn.
Okay.
I know it's only 392 pages, but they literally went from we're gonna fake date and then turn right around and he's like taking her off the horse and she's like his hands are wrapped around my waist. And that was like the only kind of like slow burn part. And then it just ended.
Yeah, it was
Like, I'm not pretending anymore. Do you still want to fake date me? Because I'm not pretending.
I would change all the scenes where
They're in close proximity of each other,
yeah.
but no like slow burn interesting like yearning happened. Like him like Raven telling his entire family her secret and she was like, "You know what? I'm just going to gloss over that."
Yeah, like who cares about that?
I've been holding the secret in since childhood and here he
I
goes yapping
know.
away. The fake dating was like 3 days. So there wasn't much yearning in the fake dating. Like I don't know if you've seen Bridgerton, like their fake dating, how they did it.
Yes.
Like that.
I
That's like
like the fake dating in Bridgerton, and I wanted it to be something more like that, but this was like so
non-existent
non-existent.
or just very little.
Yeah.
So with the 392 pages and how fast everything was happening and the pacing, did you see the twist coming sooner than when it was actually revealed?
I saw the twist coming right in the first couple
It
chapters.
really just punched you in the gut.
You already know. You already can guess it.
Yeah, I also am still in shock that Elspeth couldn't put the two and two together.
That's what I want to know. Duh. Duh.
Duh. We need to train her in critical thinking skills.
She has none.
All right, pull out a pen and paper. We'll teach you.
Okay. So that is going to kind of jump us into if you were the author, would you change anything about the plot
Yes.
or the ending? Okay, yeah,
I
me
think
too.
throughout this entire review, we've been saying like we know what we would want to change, especially like in the beginning. Like you want more details. I would like more details too because, like I said, I only could imagine a black castle with mist or surrounding it.
Because it did say like it's a castle, large empty spaces for farming, but it's covered in the mist. Okay, but if you're going to the castle and you've been inside the castle, what does the castle actually look like? What does that
Yeah,
farmland
like
actually look like?
they could also,
You know?
I don't know.
Ooh, it's a castle. Okay, not every castle
Yeah,
looks the same.
when I hear blunder now, I just think of it being like I don't know, just a black looming.
For me, it sounds run down.
Oh yeah,
But how would I know? How would I
give
know?
me a little something,
I
something.
wouldn't.
But yeah, I would definitely add more detail because in fantasy, the world building is what makes the book because you want to be transported. And I would also make a fake dating trope, actually fake dating, and let the yearning happen. Because by the time he like lifts her off the horse, I want to be like, heck he's touching her.
If that were me, I would choose like 3 tropes, one big trope, either that being a slow burn or fake dating or whatever it is, and then just having forced proximity be one, or you know how there's like those one bed
Yeah.
tropes or whatever. But there's minuscule tropes. They're not a whole trope. Enemies to lovers was so quick. That's a big one.
I totally forgot that it was like enemies to lovers, basically, because he's like the seer who seeks out people with a sickness.
She was attacked by the
See,
highwayman, you
it was
know?
so quick. I totally forgot it was enemies to lovers. To me, it wasn't enemies to lovers. To me, I'm like, she would also have to be out to be enemies. Like,
I mean, technically he is an enemy because he
so
works
she
for the
is.
king. But like no, but it was so
It really was. I
fast.
forgot.
Fake dating, fast. Enemies to lover, fast. Forced proximity, constant
Yeah.
but
So if we're
fast.
gonna like promote these tropes, I just want a little something more from these tropes.
You don't gotta do every trope in
But
one
also, if
novel,
you want to do every
please.
trope, just make the novel longer. Make it worth it. Yeah, because I totally forgot.
Yeah, when you think about this book, it's like a hodgepodge of
Yeah,
stuff. It's like if a scrapbook was being made of
it would
tropes,
be
it
this
would be
book.
this book.
Yeah, the nightmare
Yeah.
really carried the team, and that's what I just remember. And the Providence cards. It was like the main, like the magic system is like the main thing.
Would you change anything about the actual plot line though? Or the ending?
No,
Like, is there anything
no,
that
I
you would
think the
change
way
about it?
like the timeline was and the acts of the book themselves, I think they all lined up, and it was a good setup for
Yeah.
the next book.
I would change the ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What I would change is the whole ending.
Oh, really?
I would want to have an out of nowhere twist.
But it makes sense. Maybe he's been plotting something for so long that we don't know what it is yet.
That's true. But I still feel like it should have been something more interesting.
Yeah.
Because the way it ended, I was like, oh, okay. It didn't excite me for the next book.
Yeah.
I didn't feel excited, like, oh my God, I can't believe
Like
it,
I
you
put
know?
this book down, pick the next one right up.
Yeah, I could leave time to muster my thoughts and not want to pick it up immediately.
Yeah, I really like the book, and I feel the same way because since we're not coming back to it for a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
like okay with that. Kind of like unlike how when we were reading Fourth Wing, I was like I need to read Iron Flame right now.
Yeah, I need to read the next book like right now. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of it. There were some spoilers here and there. We didn't go throughout everything in the book, but I feel like we did touch on a lot of good parts of it.
So after I can't speak for this because I recommended this book to you because I liked it. Would you recommend this book to somebody else?
Yes. Given all of my gripe about this book, given my actual feelings about this book, I would still recommend this book to somebody because if they like the dark gothic fantasy, they like, magic systems and things like that, then heck yeah, I would. I think
It,
it's an easy
it's
read.
a to me it was a fun read.
Yeah.
It was a fun read. Also, in other fantasy books, all this stuff is going on with different kingdoms, going over here, going over there. I like how it was just in one place,
Yeah, it
basically.
was they stuck to their own business and they're just dealing with what there's going on in their own vicinity than dealing with anybody else around them.
Yeah, I think that's also why I thought it was fun too,
Yeah.
because I didn't have to sit here and be like, okay, who is this person again? Oh, wait, are they from this kingdom? Wait, what's the kingdom's name
Yeah,
again?
there
It was
it wasn't
just
jumping back
back
and
and
forth between
adding
kingdoms.
people.
Yeah.
It was just Blunder, the king, and the
Right.
cards.
Well, now that we know that we would recommend this book to someone, what is your star rating on this? What would you give it out of 5?
I would give it a 4.1.
I would also probably give it a 4.1.
Yay, I recommended a good book to you.
Yes,
Finally.
it was a good book. I would say it was a good book. It wasn't my favorite book, but I would say that this would be worth the read. Even though on Goodreads, I was reading the comments and some people were like, were we reading the same book?
Makes sense because people have their own
Everyone has their own
opinions.
opinions and on things.
Yeah, it had its pros and cons. For a debut novel, I think the author did really well.
Yeah, I think it was great.
And we've read a lot of books, so yeah, it was a good read. It was definitely nice to get away from the Fae world.
Yes, this is the perfect book if you want to get away from consuming so much Fae. This is it.
Or
Hmm.
or if you're just reading slump because you don't have to worry about the outside kingdoms, you don't have to worry about outside enemies, you don't have to worry.
And it's short.
And it's short, yeah, it's a quick read.
Yeah, so it's not like you have to read 600 pages to get to the point, especially when you're in a reading slump. Sometimes it's difficult when I'm in one and See a book and I'm like, it's 600 pages. I'm like, I don't know if I want to, you know?
Yeah, so it was a perfect length for someone who just wants to take a break from whatever they've been reading. So that brings us to the end. Thanks for listening to us ranting and our opinions on this book. Woo!
Next week, we're headed to a more of like a paranormal setting. We're headed right to New Orleans, mentally and keeping the same eerie energy with Phantasma. Expect ghosts, glamours, and a little bit of grief.
Yay, I'm excited to talk about it
Me
because
too.
I have words.
If you like this episode, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And maybe let us know what your favorite Providence card is. And remember,
Be wary,
be clever.
be good, and we'll see you at the Grim Manor.
Bye.
Bye.